Oh, let me tell you something raw. You were a blessing, a treasure, a light, and they treated you like nothing? Wow. The audacity, the arrogance, the blindness. Yeah, they laughed when you stood by them, didn't they? They mocked your patience, spat on your kindness, twisted your strength into weakness. Nah, they didn't see the storm brewing behind your silence. And now they feel it. The weight of your absence, the crushing of their pride, the shadow of regret wrapping around their nights. This isn't just a speech. It's your fire, your anthem, your echo in their minds. So don't you dare scroll past this. Watch it till the end. Let every word carve into your chest like truth, with teeth. Drop your rage, your scars, your strength in the comments. And if this storm burns inside you, hit that super thanks. Because you, my audience, my legends, my untouchable warriors, you are the reason this message breathes. This is more than content. This is a tribute carved for you, the storm they'll never forget. They never knew what they had until it vanished into silence. That's the thing about people. When you stand in front of them, offering your loyalty, your strength, your time, they shrug like it's nothing. They look at your sacrifice as though it were ordinary, like air, invisible, endless. But when that air is gone, when the lungs of their comfort collapse, that's when the panic sets in. That's when they realize you weren't ordinary at all. You were the pulse. You were the gift. You were the blessing they thought would never end. Oh, the arrogance of those who mistake patience for weakness. They confuse your endurance with silence, your kindness with surrender. But inside you was never a weakness. Inside you was fire disguised as calm. You carried storms behind closed lips. You endured insult after insult, not because you couldn't fight back, but because you knew the weight of restraint. Yet they thought that weight made you easy to use, easy to dismiss. Wow. Imagine being so blind, so intoxicated with pride, that you spit on the very hand holding you up. That's the comedy of it all, the stage play of ungrateful hearts. They mocked what should have been honored. They stepped on what should have been treasured. They tore at the very foundation of their own safety. And now the curtain falls. You were light in a darkened room. You were water in a burning desert. You were the calm voice in their chaos. And instead of guarding you, they drained you. Instead of shielding you, they shattered you. That's when it clicked, didn't it? That's when you walked away. Not in rage, not in noise, but in silence, sharp enough to pierce their illusions. Yeah, silence can scream louder than 1,000 arguments. And your silence, it echoes now. They can feel it pressing against their chest at night. They can feel it crawling into the spaces where your presence once stood. Every laugh is a little emptier. Every victory tastes a little bitter because you're gone. You see, absence has a weight far heavier than presence ever did. It bends their pride. It crushes their arrogance. It drags their spirit to the ground. Nah, they didn't see it then. They thought losing you would be nothing. But the truth? Losing you is a punishment they sentence themselves to. They can't escape it. They can't buy their way out of it, because the absence of a blessing is a wound that no medicine can close. And here's the irony. They thought your worth was small, but now they walk in circles, haunted by the ghost of what they threw away. They try to replace you with noise, distractions, empty faces, but nothing fits the shape you left behind. So the question rises like smoke from a burning house. What happens to those who drown in the weight of their own regret? Silence is not the end. Silence is the seed. They thought when you went quiet, you vanished. They thought absence was weakness, that retreat meant surrender. But silence? Silence is preparation. It is the sharpening of the blade before the strike. It is the coiling of the storm before it breaks the sky open. Your silence was not their victory. It was the moment you chose to step back and rise above their noise. Oh, if only they had understood. If only they had known that you were not gone. You were simply transforming. While they mocked their ignorance, you were building. While they wasted their breath in arrogance, you were gathering strength in shadows they could never reach. That's the real cruelty of silence. It makes the blind believe they've won, but in reality, they've already lost. Wow. Imagine the look on their faces when they finally realize the truth. When they understand that the silence they thought was emptiness was actually power. When they see you again, not broken, not diminished, but stronger, sharper, colder. Their laughter will die in their throats. Their pride will sink like stone, because you were not erased. You were reborn. Yeah, that's the beauty of absence. It doesn't just hurt those who lost you. It rebuilds you too. In their arrogance, they thought they removed you from the board, but what they really did was set you free from their chains. And freedom is the one thing they can never control. You see, silence gives you clarity. Silence gave you the room to breathe, to see who they truly were, to cut the mask from their faces. Every insult they whispered behind your back now echoes in their own skulls. Every betrayal they thought was clever now burns them from within, because your silence forced them to listen to themselves. And that's a torment far greater than any revenge. Nah, they don't admit it. They'll never say it out loud. But deep inside, where pride cannot shield them, they know they are the reason you walked away. They know they pushed too far, demanded too much, drained too deep. And now they live with the shadow of that truth, gnawing at them day and night. And here's the real twist. Your silence wasn't for them. It was for you. It was the declaration that you would no longer waste yourself on those unworthy of your presence. It was the line you drew, the wall you built, the fire you lit to burn away every chain they thought you'd keep wearing. Silence was your evolution. Broken pieces are not weak. They are sharper, deadlier, and impossible to hold without bleeding. They thought they had broken you. They thought shattering your trust, fracturing your spirit, and grinding you down would leave you harmless. But broken doesn't mean destroyed. Broken means reformed. Broken means reshaped into something they will never again understand, never again control. The cracks they left behind, they became the edges you now carry. Edges that cut, edges that remind, edges that defend. Oh, the irony. They believed they were ending you when in reality they were chiseling away the softness, sculpting something more unyielding, more precise, more dangerous than ever. That's the beauty of pressure. It either crushes you into dust or hardens you into stone, and you chose stone. You chose endurance. You chose to rise with the strength they never saw coming. Wow. Look at the poetry of it all. They tore you apart, and yet the fragments did not scatter. They aligned, they locked into place, forming patterns of resilience, scars that spoke louder than any words. They thought pain would silence you, but pain became your teacher. They thought rejection would bury you, but rejection became your stage. Every insult, every betrayal, every cold shoulder, they were forging weapons inside you. Weapons they will one day fear. Yeah, and here's the part they will never accept. The very things they did to weaken you are the reasons you now stand untouchable. Disrespect? It burned away your need for validation. The betrayal? It taught you to move without leaning on fragile hands. The abandonment? It showed you the depth of your own strength. They gave you lessons in cruelty, but you turned them into a syllabus of power. And now you carry knowledge they cannot erase. You see, brokenness redefines value. What they once dismissed as fragile now stands as unbreakable. What they once thought was replaceable now glows with rarity. And here's the sting. They can't undo it. They can't rewind time and glue back what they destroyed. They can't soften the edges they carved into you. Every time they see you, they'll see their own reflection in the scars they left. And that reflection will haunt them. Nah, they'll try to pretend. They'll force a laugh, fake a smile, wear masks of indifference. But deep down, when the noise dies, they know the truth. They know the broken pieces they created have turned into a fortress that keeps them out. They know the blessing they mishandled has become a mirror of their shame. They know, and that knowledge is their punishment. But here's where the story takes a darker turn. Because brokenness is not only survival, it is transformation. And transformation comes with a cost. Those who mistreated you believed your absence was their freedom. But now they are chained to regret, chained to the echo of what they lost, chained to the weight of their own choices. And regret is a prison with no walls and no escape. Your broken pieces didn't just change you. They cursed them. They left them wandering in a world where your presence no longer shields them, where your silence no longer protects them, where your patience no longer spares them. And in that void, they finally understand what they destroyed. They finally taste the bitterness of what can never return. An ending is never an end. It is the sharp turn where the story grows darker, sharper, unstoppable. They thought breaking you was the final act. They thought your silence, your absence, your shattered pieces meant the curtain had fallen for good. But endings are illusions. Endings are simply doors only the strongest know how to open. And you, with your scars carved into weapons, you didn't stop. You walked through that door. You turned their so-called ending into the beginning of something they never imagined. Oh, the arrogance. They celebrated too early. They thought the stage was theirs, thought they had silenced you forever. But what they really did was light a fire that no one can put out. Because when someone is freed from the weight of being taken for granted, when someone is no longer chained to ungrateful hands, they rise differently, stronger, sharper, harder to reach. And you rose in silence, but the silence is now roaring. Wow, picture it. Their faces when they see you again. Not as the servant of their comfort, not as the one they used and dismissed, but as someone untouchable. They thought your end meant their freedom. Instead, your end became their prison, because now every single success you achieve echoes in their mind as a reminder. They had this blessing once, and they let it slip away. Yeah, and that's the cruel beauty of transformation. It doesn't just build you, it exposes them. Every step you take forward is a spotlight on their mistakes. Every victory you carve out of your struggle is a mirror showing them what they lost. They thought your ending meant their relief, but no. Your rise is their reminder. Every time you stand tall, they shrink smaller. Every time you breathe freely, they choke on regret. And here's the part that twists the knife deeper. You don't even need revenge. You don't need schemes or words or battles. Your existence itself becomes the judgment. Your growth is their punishment. Your strength is their consequence. The same silence they mocked is now the echo in their head that never stops ringing. Nah, they can't escape it. They try to drown it with noise, try to cover it with excuses, but the truth never leaves them. They lost what could never be replaced. They mishandled what was priceless. And now the ending they wrote for you has turned into the ending of their illusions. They ended up with nothing. They only revealed you. So the stage is set, the lights burn brighter, and the story continues. The blessing they rejected is now the force they cannot stop. And the question remains, burning, cutting, impossible to ignore. If this is the beginning of your rise, what storm is coming next? Storms don't ask for permission. They arrive, they break, they collect what is owed. They thought life would stay calm without you. They thought your absence was relief, that your silence meant safety. But storms always return. And this storm, your storm, was born in the silence they mocked. It grew in the shadows they ignored. It carried every insult, every betrayal, every careless dismissal as fuel. And now, it comes roaring back, not as vengeance, but as consequence. Oh, the weight of it. They never imagined the cost. They thought losing you was nothing, just another passing moment. But absence is not a moment, it is a lifetime, and lifetimes are heavy. They thought the storm would pass. Instead, it settled in their chest, pressing down, suffocating every ounce of comfort they once took for granted. Wow. Look at them now, haunted by what they lost, running from memories that stalk them at every corner. They see you in every success they cannot claim. They hear your voice in every silence too loud to bear. They feel your shadow in every place they thought they would stand tall. The storm doesn't just rage outside, it lives inside them. A reminder, a weight, a debt unpaid. Yeah, and here's the truth. Storms don't destroy the innocent. They destroy illusions. And you were never their enemy. You were their shield, their safety, their blessing. But they mistreated it. And now the shield is gone. Now the storm is theirs to face. And the cruelest part? They cannot hide. They cannot escape. No matter how fast they run, the storm moves faster. And here's the twist they never expected. You don't even need to lift a hand. You don't need to plot or chase. The storm is not your revenge, it's their reality. They created it themselves the moment they treated you as nothing. They summoned it when they mocked your silence, when they ignored your patience, when they took from you without giving back. They authored their own downfall, and the storm is simply reading their script out loud. Nah. They will try to convince themselves it's not real. They'll blame others, blame fate, blame everything except the truth. But the truth is relentless. The truth is merciless. And the truth is this: they had you, and they lost you. That single fact will follow them like thunder that never fades. And you walk through this storm untouched, because storms do not destroy the ones who understand their power. You've become the eye of it, the calm center, unshaken, untouchable, while everything around you crumbles under the weight of regret. You no longer carry their burden. They carry yours. And there it is, the truth They can't outrun. They had a blessing. They had you, and they shattered it? Now they live in the silence, the storm, the weight of absence. Oh, isn't it poetic? How regret speaks louder than pride. Wow, every moment they thought you were weak has turned into their nightmare. Yeah, they feel it now. Every step you take forward is thunder under their feet. Nah, this isn't revenge. This is reality. And you, my audience, my warriors, my unbreakable legends, you are living proof that nothing and no one can bury what is destined to rise. So walk with your head high, leave your fire in the comments, and if this storm touched your soul, smash that super thanks. Your strength, your support, your presence makes this message immortal. Remember this as you leave. Your absence will always weigh heavier than their presence ever did.